I'm Nate Spack, and today we're going to be going through Chapter 5, Segment 4 of the psychology textbook. Now we must learn to balance pleasing other people and defying them. So, morality basically is a set of rules determining right and wrong and plays a key role in balancing pleasing other people and defying them. Now, Lawrence Kohlberg developed the Heinz steals the drug dilemma, and this dilemma helped convince Kohlberg that there are stages in moral reasoning which children go through. And there are three levels to this. The first level is pre-conventional moral reasoning, which weighs right and wrong in terms of personal consequences. The second stage is conventional moral reasoning, which weighs right and wrong based on society's expectation. And lastly, we have post-conventional moral reasoning, which weighs right and wrong based on a social contract. These social contract rules are thought as universal, even if most people in a certain society don't agree. Now, it's also controversial that Kohlberg emphasizes justice rather than caring. Now, Erik Erikson identifies 8 stages in the development of our relationship with others. Now, these were controversial because they were inspired by biographies of famous people and Sigmund Freud's theories rather than actual scientific research done by Erik Erikson. So the first stage involves infants from 0 to 2 years old learning to trust their caregivers. And the main relationship that's critical during this period is the relationship with the mother. The second stage involves toddlers from 2 to 3 years old being pulled between autonomy and shame, and the relationship critical during this stage is with both parents. The next stage involves preschoolers from 4 to 6 years old being torn between guilt and initiative, and the children during going through this stage build relationships with other family members like aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas. The fourth stage involves pre-adolescents from 7 to 12 years old being torn between competence and inferiority, and the relationship that is critical during this stage is the relationships that are developed with friends. Now, the fifth stage involves adolescents from 13 years old to 19 years old, struggling with building an identity and finding their role in society. And the most important relationships here are with their peers. The sixth stage involves young adults in their 20s struggling between intimacy and isolation. And the most important relationships in this stage are with peers and a romantic partner. Now, sometimes this stage can be broken down into stages. First, deciding who you are and what you want, then moving away from home. After that, making decisions about your future. Fourth, taking responsibility but still feeling in between. And finally, fifth, the last stage within the young adult stage is having a vision and knowing what you want and feeling optimistic about life. Now, the seventh stage involves middle adults from their 30s to their 50s struggling between generativity and stagnation. And the most critical relationships in this stage involve coworkers and family. And finally, we have the elderly stage of people 60 years or older. Now, this involves the tension between despair and integrity, and most important relationships in this stage include family and community. Now, the aging mind, it slows down and deteriorates, but at the same time, it does continue to grow. Now, many signs of physical aging set in, such as hair graying, hair thinning, muscles becoming just physically weaker, and sensory and motor systems decline along with memory. However, fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence are an important area of study among elderly. Now, fluid intelligence is the ability to reason logically and solve new problems not involving what you already know. And the fluid intelligence has been shown to be at its highest in adolescence and gradually decrease throughout life, and is shown to be lowest in elderly people. Crystallized intelligence now is the knowledge that one has acquired and the ability to use it properly. And now this intelligence is lowest in adolescence and gradually increases as you go through life, and is the highest among the elderly. Now, the satisfaction of life between age groups is generally the same, around 80% according to surveys. Now, for elderly people, however, this satisfaction withstands a shrinking social circle and a lot of times bereavement as well, which is the sense of loss and longing for someone who's died. In addition to this, elderly end up reporting the most happiness in their lives according to research as well. Now, if we're lucky, we live long enough to face the aging process, the end of the aging process, and the possibility of Alzheimer's disease. Now, dementia is the progressive decline in cognitive function caused by damage or disease rather than normal aging, and it sometimes occurs in place of normal aging of the brain. Now, causes of dementia include Alzheimer's disease and small strokes that destroy brain tissue. Alzheimer's disease is the result of a buildup of abnormal clumps of dead or dying neurons, which are known as neuritic plaques in the brain. The most common cause of dementia also happens to be Alzheimer's. Now, amyloid plays a key role in Alzheimer's disease because a buildup of amyloid proteins on neurons causes synapse impairment, and Alzheimer's disease has a major genetic contribution, but however, it's much less likely to develop in those who keep their brain active later in life. I'm Nate Spack, and that's my presentation.